in the last video, we discussed note names. So what we said is if we have a line, and we say that that line is, for example, a whole note long, and we divide that line in half, we get a half note, which looks like that. And if we divide it into quarters, we get a quarter note. And if we divide it up again, we get eighth notes. Now, in this video, we're just going to do the rest equivalents for this. So, each one of these notes has a rest that's associated with it. Now, the rest is the same length of time, but it's just where the note shows you that there's sound for this length of time, the rest shows you that there's silence for this length of time. So, the whole note rest looks like that. And we'll just do the British names while we're at it. Semi-brief. And the minim rest looks like that. The crotchet rest looks like that. And finally, here's your quaver. So one thing to notice is that while the minim can look either like that or like that, the same with the crotchet and the quaver, for the rests, they're always in this shape. Now, with rests, because we're not showing the pitch of the note, they're always written in the same place on the music stuff. So, let's introduce the music stuff. Now, the music stuff is exactly the same idea as the line we have over there. Use this instead. Exactly the same as that line we have over there. Except that there's now a whole bunch of lines stacked on top of each other. Now, we're not going to worry about what that means for now, but just take it as the same meaning as a single line like that. So what we do then is we add the rests into this space over here. So the semi-brief rest hangs from that line. The minim lies on top of the line there. It's a bit big, more like that. The crotchet rest makes a little Z in the tail. And the quaver rest over there. So now, if we want to add semi-quaver, we add another flag, demi-semi-quaver, hemi-demi-semi-quaver, semi-hemi-demi-semi-quaver. So that covers the basic rests names. And yeah, so it's basically the same principle as for the note names. Now, there's one more thing to notice with the rests, and that has to do with bars. Now, bar lines in music are a relatively new invention. And we're not going to worry about the meaning of them right now. All that's important is that bar lines just divide our time into segments. So there's one bar, and one bar. Now, bars can be of different lengths. So a bar could be one whole note long, or it could be a crotchet long, or it could be a minim long, just depending on the music. But when we're writing rests for bars, we always use the semi-brief rest to show one bar of rest. So, like that. Whether the bar is a semi-brief long, a crotchet long, or a quaver long. So in that case, this whole note rest just means one whole bar. The principle is that sometimes in music we need to use, we need to write more than one bar of rest. And to save effort really, if you need to write, say, 2 bars of rest, instead of writing out a bar and a bar, we can do this. And this is the modern notation for this. So there, we write 2 bars. So that is 2 bars of rest. So we don't have to write anything in the other bar. So there. Now, in the past, what would happen is there was this, almost a separate notation system for writing multiple bars of rest like that. If you had 1 bar of rest, you would write it like this, with a semi-brief rest. That's what we saw earlier. If you have 2 bars of rest, you would write it with a brief rest over there, which just fills that whole space. If you had 4 bars of rest, you would fill it with a longer rest, which is just over those 2. Then you can just add on. So if you want 6 bars of rest, you go 4 plus 2. That gives you 6. And if you want 7 bars of rest, you add a 1. And so you could go on and add on rests up to however many rests you need. But in the modern notation, we make life a lot simpler, and we just put 1 bar of rest like that and say 7. But as a historical curiosity, we still have this notation that stays with us, that if you want to write 1 full bar of rest, you don't write the actual time value of the bar, you write 1 whole note rest. So that's just a quirk of notation that one just has to remember. So there we go. And that's all you need to know about rests.